Have you ever wondered why we're drawn to and seem to like the old parts of our towns the most? There's a concept known as the Lindy effect that I think helps explain it. But first, I have to ask you a question. Hey, it's John, the Happy Urbanist, here for KUA, and I want to talk about South Broad Street in Atlanta. Before I get to the question, I want to give you some context, because the story is kind of crazy. So years ago, an international investment group from Germany started buying up property in South downtown Atlanta. Their hopes were to erect giant buildings and towers and attract headquarters for corporate offices. Well, COVID sort of thwarted those plans, and another investor bought up that property but has a completely different vision. So here's that question I promised you. If you had to base your life savings on this, and you had to guess what will be in print 50 years from now, the best seller from this year, or an obscure cookbook you've never heard of but has been in print for 50 years? You might have guessed that as a trick question based on how I framed it, but it's that obscure cookbook that is more likely to be in print 50 years from now. This is the Lindy effect. Things that have been around for a while tend to stay around for a longer time. And it's so important because it's the tale of these two investment groups. One that came in and said, what do we want for the future of this? And it looked like demolishing part of what was here, building something new and shiny, and trying to attract people. But the second investor is looking at all this property and looking at South Broad and is working to preserve this. Now, I'll explain what makes this good and what makes it make sense. But just so you know, all of these buildings had structural issues. And because of large investment that a lot of developers wouldn't see as worth it, none of these buildings are slated for demolition. And for this group, it's going to help the rest of their investment pan out. So the first thing this block has going for it is what city planners would call enclosure. The buildings capping it on both sides and the trees give this sense of shade and protection that make us want to spend time here. There's also lots of different types of shops with what city planners would call entrance frequency. When there are more different types of things to do in one area, people tend to be attracted to it. And lastly, all of these buildings built slow and over time means lots of different types of architectural ornamentation and interesting things to look at, including that sign right there, which is on the cover of a Paul McCartney album. It's what city planners would call eye-level interest. Historic preservation is important, but old buildings are more than just cultural wealth. They're actual guides to what good development could look like in the future. And the truth is, some of the stuff going in here will probably end up looking new, and eventually some of the space will fill out with new building. It is worth pointing out, however, that most developers haven't tried to invest in historic buildings and found them wanting. They've found them to be difficult to invest in and have left them untried. Oh yeah, one other cool aspect of this development is they're turning this parking lot into a public plaza. They're paying money and dedicating parts of their real estate to create a third space because they know that that's what brings people together. For them, it's a smaller part of a bigger picture, but it's a lesson that we could all learn. Preserving the past isn't just about some sort of cultural nostalgia, but a good roadmap for meeting human needs, even the ones in the future.